This is part 2 of why I will never, ever work a 9 to 5 again. If you ain't watched part 1, go watch part 1. In both parts, we kick game. Tap in. Realistically, I need to be live streaming, but you know, you gotta have a certain amount of subscribers and all this technical bullshit. So, like, comment, subscribe. This had hit me up because he hit me up away from work when I wasn't even at work. So, you know, the next day I came up to her and I was just like, "What the f is this, bro?" You know what I mean? And you know, it turned into a whole little thing. You know what I mean? Everybody started yelling and you feel me? I cursed the girl out. You know what I mean? And you know, it just turned into a situation where my job became compromised because, you know, the people in charge can't discipline who ain't adding nothing to the fucking group. You know what I'm saying? Like, every problem that was wrong with the job was them young niggas, bro. Every single issue was because of them. And like, the job was so stressful, you know what I mean? I couldn't sleep. So I was showing up to work late. You know what I mean? Like I said, we had swing shifts, so like we would have to work mornings, then we would have to work nights. And every single time we switched from morning to nights, like, your sleep schedule is fucked up. So when you working for like the first week of switching shifts, like, you half asleep while working, bro. We worked from 6 p.m. to 3 a.m. On my fucking soul, it felt like a prison sentence. You know what I mean? Like, you literally, I've never been in a work setting where I'm literally about to pass out because I'm sleep deprived. You know what I'm saying? So like, you got that shit, and then you got these niggas that's just causing a whole bunch of chaos, being petty and messy. You know what I mean? That shit was so stressful that, you know, I would wake up late for work, get points on my attendance, and like, that's basically how I lost that job, bro. You know what I mean? Like, every time something happened at the job, we would have to talk to I forgot what that shit was called, but we had to talk to somebody about, so they can report everything that happened. So we basically had to tell our side of the story and shit. You know what I mean? So this is basically how they would find out if they needed to fire somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as the process for them to fire somebody, it was just way too overly complicated, bro. You know what I mean? It was basically like a police investigator, you feel me, would come and interrogate everybody involved in this situation, and, you know, they would have to take it to the higher ups to make a decision and all this shit. And it's just like, bro, you know, meanwhile, we still got to deal with the same bullshit every day. And, you know, after all of that shit, most of the time nothing happened, or, you know, the wrong person would be at the end of the stick. You feel me? And that person was me in that situation. You know what I mean? Mind you, I could have kept the job if I wasn't late. But the whole reason I was late was because of that shit. Mind you, I picked up smoking and drinking from working there. So, you know, that also could have attributed to my attendance. I wouldn't say could, it did. But the whole reason for me even doing any of those things was because of the stress that I was experiencing at work. I don't smoke or drink for real unless it's like every once in a blue moon, you know? And that's only if I want to smoke. You know what I mean? But ain't no getting past them soul sucking hours, bro. Ain't no getting past that bullshit. And you know, I was at the job, bro, like before all that shit happened, bro, I had this like feeling, bro. I kept having this feeling while I was working, like you know that feeling when people say they get a feeling when they about to die. You know what I'm saying? Or when somebody about to die. Like it's just a intuitive feeling. I got that feeling while I was at work. Like I told my homie there, I was like, hey bro, I got this feeling like something is about to die, you know what I'm saying? Like I had that weird feeling. And that feeling was me losing my job, basically. You know what I'm saying? So like I say this whole story basically to reiterate, like, follow your intuition, bro. Above all, follow your intuition. Follow your intuition. Most of the time, your intuition is intertwined with you following your heart, and your gut. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you get that feeling, do not ignore it. Cause you will regret it in the future. You will regret it. I guarantee you, bro. Cause like I dealt with so much shit at that job. It was so bad that I was like, I ain't ever doing this shit ever again. Like, mind you, before I got the job, I was like, I'm gonna get this shit one more shot, bro. I'm gonna get this traditional work bullshit one more fucking go. You know what I'm saying? Cause most jobs I had, like, you know, the same type of shit always happened, bro. Like, I'd be working there minding my own fucking business, and some motherfuckers just gotta be hating and turn it into something else, you know, and I end up losing the job or I quit or some shit. You know what I mean? Because it's just like unstable. It's just not a place to be, bro. It's just like, you know what I mean? And that realization that like this shit is literal slavery. You know what I mean? Like, I don't knock anybody who work a 9 to 5, bro, but you know, me personally, I definitely think that this ain't how we supposed to be living as people, bro. Like, we should just be focused on just being, you know what I'm saying? The older I get, the more I just focus on, like, I'm satisfied with just simple things, you know? Cutting the grass. Cutting the grass now is therapeutic for me. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Just stepping outside and taking a walk. You know what I'm saying? Cooking food, clean it up. These simple things is like, instead of a chore now, it's like something that I'm grateful to be able to do. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't really have to think about nothing else but that shit. You know what I mean? But when you gotta think about like how you gonna pay your bills and shit, and like, you know, going to work and all of that shit, like all of that shit fuck everything up. You know what I mean? It just fucks the whole vibe of just you just being and flowing with how life is. You know what I'm saying? Like, having to be forced to do stuff, it's counterproductive, bro. It's counterintuitive to how we supposed to actually be living, and that's just being, bro. We are human beings. We are just supposed to be. You know what I mean? And when you just being, You just enjoying little simple moments for what they are. You know what I mean? But when you, like I said, when you in a work setting, you like forcing yourself to be stressed out over things. You know, that's just a recipe for dysfunctional lifestyle, bro. You know what I mean? And like on the surface, we look at it as like, this is practical. This is just what we need to do. But in reality, you know, you missing out on life, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like you work so hard to do all this stuff, and then once you got it, it's not even satisfying, bro. That's why people who like are CEO bosses up and just lead a company, because you know they was just focused on money, bro. They wasn't actually focused on what satisfies them, like in deep down in their heart. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they went after something just for the money, you know what I mean? Just for material, you know, like it's not all that's cracked up to be, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I got that job. It was exactly what I wanted. Like I manifested that shit. But since it was out of alignment with what I wanted to do deep down in my heart, like what I really wanted to do, you know what I mean? Mind you, what I really want to do is risky. It's not easy. But if I actually put in the work, stay consistent and have faith, like at the end of that road is a satisfying reality. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And like I said, like I don't knock anybody else to have a 9 to 5, but like that shit is not for everybody, bro. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Some people are just meant to just be able to have their own space to do what they want to do. You know what I mean? Meaning I and many others were meant to cultivate and create our very own way of progressing and making a living. Not the same old blueprint of go to school, get an education, and acquire a lifeless ass job. Hopefully whatever they want to do is something productive and creative. You know what I mean? Hopefully. You know what I mean? If not, I don't know what to say to that. I mean, I do, but like, you know, niggas ain't gonna be happy with what I got to say. But you know, some people just meant to just be able to be in a space and create. You know what I mean? And like another thing I realized is like, you know, my family especially, they so judgmental and like stuck in traditional on achieving things in life in one fucking way, bro. And when you're the nigga who not doing that, bro, they pass so much judgment on you and like, you know, push you away. You know what I mean? But I could actually be an asset to y'all if y'all really knew who I was. You know what I'm saying? If y'all really knew what I wanted, y'all wouldn't be passing judgment. You would just give me the space to do what I want to do. But instead, I'm surrounded by a whole bunch of motherfuckers that don't feel like family. They don't feel like family at all. You know what I'm saying? In other words, I am a neglected child, just like many, many others, where they family do not know who they truly are, or even had enough awareness to know what we are actually gifted at doing. So they try to make us assimilate and conform to this forced way of making a living. This is exactly why the younger generation doesn't want to work. It's because deep down in their spirit, they know this shit is not it. They know this is not satisfying. It's probably the only thing that I actually agree with with these niggas on, like, is the fact that, like, the way we, you know, the way we make a living, or the way we even find out how to do that, is completely fucked. I say all this stuff to say that, like, this is the whole reason why I started YouTube. This is why I would never work a 9 to 5 ever again. You know what I mean? And, like, throughout all those things that I was going through with that job, my family, and a lot of things in life, like, it all boils down to me not following my heart, my intuition, bro. You know what I mean? That's the core lesson out of the whole thing. You know what I mean? Cause God was giving me signs, still do to this day. That's the only reason I'm stepping out on faith and doing this right here. Because, you know, when you following your intuition, bro, when, like, you doing something that you love to do, you're passionate about, and it just feels good. That's how you know you following your purpose, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, mind you, hopefully whatever you're doing is productive, and, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It can translate to something tangible, you know? No matter what it is, though. Like, me personally, I love to see things grow. You know what I mean? From nature to people, places, and things. I like seeing how things grow. You know, I done watched a lot of artists over my years of being alive, and seeing how they grow as artists. And one thing I notice about all these people, bro, especially the people that I listen to, you know, they all became who they were because they didn't give up on themselves, and they had faith in what they was doing. You know what I'm saying? And if we all had the capacity to do that, we would manifest the life that we're actually satisfied with. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But a lot of people put up with this cycle of you know, the 9 to 5 and shit like that, and this is what we need to do. You know what I'm saying? But it's not truly what you want to do deep down in your heart. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And you're just, you know, sweeping that shit under the rug. You know what I mean? And you progressively creating a life that you're going to eventually, like, it's going to get so unsatisfying that it's going to hit you all at once. And you're going to be feeling stuck. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And, you know, this is when people grow old, and, like, they reminisce over their life, and they be like, if I could go back in time, I would just do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, usually those things, bro, are the things that you were supposed to do, you know, long time ago. So your future, so you can manifest a future that you actually are satisfied with, like, wholeheartedly. You know what I'm saying? And I really feel like this YouTube shit and everything that comes after that is exactly what I'm supposed to do. Like, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Mind you, my situation, I don't have a job right now. Like, you feel me? So I'm just doing what I can do to keep some money in my pocket, for real. So, you know, I have faith in this shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm old enough to know now, bro. Like, all that stuff that was happening with that job, all that stuff, like, you know, rejection is God's protection. You feel me? So whatever you are rejected from, it wasn't meant for you for a reason. Trust me. It wasn't meant for you for a reason. I remember when I was waking up those days trying to rush to work, everything in its power was getting in my way to keep me from going to work. I mean, I didn't even wake up. Like, deep down in my spirit, I did not want to go to work. You feel me? So, like, All that shit is for a reason, bro. Those things happen for a reason, bro. It's because you wasn't supposed to be there in the first place. You know what I mean? But I'm thinking I am, because like, I'm making this decent amount of money. I can just put up with this shit for a certain amount of time, and you know, then I can do what I want to do. I kept putting off what I was really supposed to do. You know what I mean? I'm just like, you know, I'll do it once I got this, and that. You know what I mean? Instead of just doing it. You know what I mean? You know, out of all of that stuff that happened, the only thing I regret is not just starting what I really wanted to do sooner. That's it. That's it, bro. You know what I mean? And the fucked up thing about a job is like, it takes up so much of your time and energy that you don't have no time or energy to do nothing else. You don't have no time or energy to feed yourself, to cook a proper meal for yourself. You know what I mean? You don't have no time to relax. It's just sleep. Go buy some fast food, go to work. You know what I'm saying? Like that's majority of people's like daily fucking routine, bro. And like, bro, it's not a healthy routine, bro. You feel me? That's just my opinion. But from my experience, that shit fucked me up. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm satisfied with simple things. And every single day, I give grace and thanks towards the fact that I can still make a meal for myself. You know what I mean? Have things to keep myself clean. You know what I'm saying? Have money to put gas in the car and stuff like that. Like, I'm grateful for all those things, bro. Even though I ain't got no fucking job. You know what I'm saying? Every day, angels are watching over me. Motherfuckers is looking out. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, my family, you know, they looking out, but they expecting these things out of me that just don't work for me, bro. And they still don't realize that shit. They still don't realize that shit. And it sucks, because they won't realize it until shit really change. Meaning, things change for the better, and I actually fucking succeed. What now? You know what I mean? But then it's gonna be too late. Like, then I'm not gonna want to be around y'all for real like that. You know what I mean? Cause y'all niggas didn't support when I needed it the most. You did not support. You did support in some ways, but like, you know, it ended up being more stressful than it needed to be. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because y'all doing those same things them YN niggas was doing. Gossiping, being petty, toxic, and passing fucking judgment. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, you not giving me the right energy for the dream to actually work. Teamwork make the dream work. Come on now. I can't be around people like that, bro. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You ain't got no business staying around people that ain't supporting you, like, in every single way. You know what I mean? That mean your ideas and all of that shit. If they not supporting that shit, bro, you need to think of ways to get away from them motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Because you just being around them is stunting your growth. You know what I mean? But above all, out of all these experiences, I just know for a fact that it made me way more stronger than any of these niggas, bro. You know what I mean? They believe in Jesus Christ and all of this shit, but like, can't believe in yourself. And I think that's the end of the video. This shit was way too long, but I had a lot to say, man. I might try to make this video again tomorrow. But if not, I'ma leave y'all on this. Hold on. I got a quote for y'all. Let me find that bitch real quick. Forgiving people in silence and never speaking to them again. And one more other thing. The simpler things are, the more satisfying life becomes. And to that, I say au revoir. Peace, YouTube.